She has
Hello and welcome everybody. We are back. Sadly, we had to unfortunately change our time slot and cast a different game. We will be bringing you Royalty versus, sorry, let me mute myself. Royalty
Lost Time.
versus Era Lost Time.
Yeah.
And I will be your host once again, Alex Royds Ramel, and I'm joined today by Jan Spartanex van der Westhuizen.
What's up, people? Exciting times. This is our first royalty cast, actually. So, you know, they are currently undefeated in Group B. I'm excited to see how they play since we haven't really had a chance to see what they are up to.
Yeah, especially since the way we watched, or the performance that we saw coming through from ATK being like a really big standout so far for me in this tournament of like
Definitely.
an absolute pub stomp. Like ATK came out, they did what they needed to do, and they proved that they deserve the #1 seed. So I really expect Royalty to have the same sort of showing.
Yeah, definitely. And it's currently those are the only two undefeated teams left since Evo dropped a game against GG. They drew last night, not last night, the night before. So yeah, this is gonna be a test for Royalty as well. They have had a pretty easy schedule up until this point, and I'm expecting to see some resistance from the side of Era last time, at least.
Yeah, and on that point, we do have two players joining us. We do have Bilbo Saggins joining us again today, and Lanceris as well. That'll be your top laner from Era last time and your mid laner from Royalty Esports. You guys can unmute.
Remember to unmute there.
Yeah, guys, it's
Oh,
on. Got him.
okay. Well, welcome both of you. I'm excited to see you guys on it. Bilbo, we've obviously done an interview with you prior, but Lance, it's your first time on the pre-game, and this is the first time you're playing like in a final as well. So how are you feeling? We haven't really had conversation about that.
I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to get all this. Yeah.
Just excited, man. A few words.
Yeah.
Now, both of you got like your notoriety from the COVID Cup or COVID Clash or whatever it was called. Where both of you were
Yeah.
first round picks. Boba, you were first round picked by Miggy, a former Royalty member, and Lance, you were first picked, well, by me and Kyle. But so both of you were very hyped up in the tournament. You were both big stars in it, and it took you very far. Just after that, both of you signed with your teams you're currently in, I'm pretty sure. And it's surprising. Did that tournament change a lot for you? Just like people know you all of a sudden, or what was that like?
Direct the question to Lance first. Yeah.
Okay, Lance, you go first.
I mean, I guess for me, nobody really knew me except obviously for you. And I think that tournament really like put me out there for people to realize who I was. And
Yeah.
ended up winning the tournament as well. So I think that also put my name out there.
Big brain. That's why. So, Boba, you were obviously picked up by Miguel Veloza, a very well-known figure in the scene. Like, did that surprise you being picked that early? And then all of a sudden you're in a Prem team?
Yeah, so I kind of spoke about like my journey, I guess, like in the last interview. But it was actually quite surprising. But like when I looked at the like the sheet of the top laners which entered, like there wasn't really too many high ranked ones actually. So I was kind of surprised. And well, to be picked first, yeah, that was like quite a surprise as well. And I think Lance and I both went 11 and 1 loss. I think we both had the exact same score. We were the only two. Like out of like the 12 games throughout the days, I think we only dropped a game each.
Yep.
So also going into that, so you guys obviously come out of that. You didn't play against necessarily the top teams or top players because since they weren't allowed to enter, which I thought was a good thing, and it gave you time to showcase it. Like, did it shock you once you came into Prem? Now you're joining these teams. Lance, you obviously joining the former championship team, joining alongside people like Vanzel with 5 titles. Garth, who is a Diamond 2 jungler. A lot of people are talking about him, one of the best. Tiltosaurus, Jetlas, all of these big names. Was that a little intimidating for you coming in and having to like kind of like be a part of the team and tell them when you think they're wrong?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a lot of pressure coming into a top team because I came straight from a school league. I'm still in one now, so it's quite a big jump for what I usually play at to what I need to adapt to. And I still think I'm busy adapting, but I think I've come a long way. It was pretty intimidating at first, but I think now it's gone a lot better.
Okay. And then for you, Bilbo, all of a sudden playing against all of these top players when you didn't really face them in the COVID clash, how was that like all of a sudden feeling?
Yeah, it was like a huge wake up call, and I actually enjoyed like the entire leg in Prem, and I'm actually enjoying the tournament a lot. It's like a lot of good experience, and I'm actually really enjoying it. Yeah. But it wasn't what I expected. I yeah, I don't know. I actually thought like teams would have a lot more like synergy and like stuff. Like there's just a lot more clown fiestas than what I thought there'd be.
No, definitely,
Straight up,
definitely.
dude. Yeah.
Now you're going up against, arguably, in a lot of people's minds, I don't think anyone would disagree with me here. One of the, at least mechanically, the best top laners in Jetlust. I mean,
Yeah.
when people talk about top laners, they talk about him, about YOLO Pete, about Targa. Those are usually the minds that come to head. So, have you been prepping certain things, or are you like comfortable getting into him, or do you think this will be your real first test in this championship so far?
Yeah, I mean, adding on to that
Yes.
question,
Mm.
especially the fact that you're walking into, like, with your playstyle being as aggressive as it is, you're walking into the most aggressive top laner in SA, in my opinion. So, are you prepped? Are you ready?
Yeah, so actually, it's funny. I haven't been playing too much League at the moment. Like I kind of feel that I perform better when I haven't had too many hours in the game. I don't know, like solo queue's kind of tilting here and there. So I've kind of like just taken a step back for a few days. I've like maybe played a game or two a day, and played like the VS games, of course. But yeah, I actually played him, yeah, in the Prem League, and he was by far the best from what I felt, at least. Like if there was anyone who like stomped me in lane, it was definitely him. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but
That's good.
we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We have about 5 minutes before we jump into games, so thank you both for coming into the interview. We really appreciate it, turning on your cams and stuff like that. I know sometimes it can be a little intimidating or weird, but we appreciate it. I'm sure the people watching appreciate being able to see your pretty face. So good luck in the game, guys, and yeah, hope you all the best, RNG.
All right, thanks so much.
Cheers,
Thanks for
guys.
the
Thanks
heart,
for the
the
call.
heart feed.
Take
Cheers,
care,
man.
guys.
Perfect. So
Perfect.
I found that very interesting, the way like they both talk about. Obviously, they had similar journeys. One just ended up in a different like kind of spot than the other one, and both of them going to top teams. Like it has to be said, it's not like just went to Royalty Lanceras, which is the former champions, and Boba went to a very established org as well in the form of Era, and they are a top Prem team as well, or they're in Prem. So I mean, both of them looking very good after playing that COVID clash.
Yeah, obviously Lance being the bigger benefactor at the end of the day, picking up a spot in a top team. But I mean, Bulmer Sagan, he put in a good performance in the previous game that we were watching. So
Definitely.
yeah, everybody's got to grow. Everyone gets their own chances and have to make their own chances. So I guess Lance got a little bit luckier. But at the end of the day, obviously Lance must have impressed you two more, and obviously he needed to fill a spot. So yeah, but it's nice to see players sort of growing and coming up from the new scene. I know I've always been super complacent in terms of like the same players being in the same teams, and it's not really like building the community as much because we just sort of have these same 10 players playing against each other 24/7. But it is nice to see like certain players have fallen away and other players are coming up through the ranks, and seeing sort of young talent is always a really great thing in the community.
I understand, and the onus is on them. It's them putting in a lot of effort, them entering in these tournaments to be seen. And we've always said, like, you want to get into a top team, you want to get in the Prem team. First of all, just hit diamond or hit a high solo queue. If you hit high solo queue, you're going to be seen. If not, maybe by the 80Ks, royalties, and GGs, you're going to get seen by someone. And
Yeah.
you're probably going to be able to get into a Prem team, and then participate in like these tournaments that are there to showcase you. And even if you have to start in like a lower team, like a first div team or whatever, Jetlas started that way. Jetlas was in a random first div team, and he got picked up as well to royalty from nowhere. So it's a lot about like knowing, or just like putting your head down, doing the work, and you will be seen at the end of the day. I think all of the top orgs all scout relentlessly to see if there's any talent available.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I also think there's a lot of like what's the word, onus
Ownership,
on ownership,
more or less.
whatever, on the players to actually like make themselves be seen. Like message the organizations, go and approach these people, talk to people like Vans and be like, hey, I'm looking for a team. I mean, even technically speaking, after I retired from League of Legends, there are still lots of players that have been like, hey, do you know where I can find a team? And I'll just divert them to one or two other people that can potentially help them. So you always have to look out and make your contacts. I think that's one important thing in SA League. So
Definitely.
don't just put your head down and quietly sit there and think.
No.
You're gonna be.
It's important to put your head down and grind, because that's important. Because if you're like contacting orgs and you're in your Iron One, let's be honest. But like, but yeah, like what Lance did, and I'm sure this is pretty publicly known, and I'm sure he doesn't care if I say this, but Lance literally requested to join every team in Prem on the DJL page. Just literally said request to join, and everyone's like, who the hell is this Lance Harris guy? And we didn't even, and then we spoke to him, we watched some of his games, and and now he's in royalty. So very well done. He did a lot of the right things there. So are we jumping into lobby or what's going on?
I don't know. Vance is the in game. Goth's online.
There's something weird always. Do you guys want to take like maybe a 5-minute break and get into lobby and everything, or do you want to keep discussing?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, cool. We'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hello, old my donut.
Cool. Hello and welcome everybody. As we enter Champion Select, we will see Sinners Bama. Let me give you a quick rundown of the players. On the royalty side, on the blue side, you have Jetlust in the top lane, you have Goth, Ryan in the jungle, you have Lonceris in the mid lane, and rounding it off, you have Vanza and Tiltosaurus in the bot lane. Then on red side, for Era Lost Time, You have Bilbo Saggins in the top lane, Young Zinc in the jungle, Stardust in the mid lane, and Era and Apollo in the bot lane. Sorry, the order is a little bit out of sorts because the players do not have all the champions. And then just going through the bans quickly, we do see Galio and Senna taken away by Royalty, and Karthus and Diana being taken away by Era.
Aniban.
And
Aniban probably just, specific to that player. I'm expecting an Asher's pick here straight off the rip. But they banned Caitlyn and Diana. Yeah, Diana, that is aimed at Lanceres. Lanceres was a little bit of a Diana one trick at one point, but I haven't seen him play it a lot since he joined Royalty. And Karthus for Karthus. That's banned, and that is straight on. Okay, so we're not going to see that Mordekaiser from Bilbo Saggins that was so strong the previous time they played. It's like rather, okay, cool, let's play for a team fight type thing. Instead, Royalty might opt for the Mordekaiser pick.
Yeah, and also Graves is a nice takeaway from Era last time. It is one of
Yes.
Garth Miller's most proficient champions.
Yeah, and I'm expecting just to probably see a jungle or a support pick here. The jungle pool hasn't been pinched a lot, so probably just pick up a support. Yeah, and Tiltosaurus on Thresh. Thresh is very good. Obviously, the bot lane of Van and Tilt, they like to play aggressive. They like to, play up in your face. So, and that lane will allow them to do so. And a Morgana pick. Okay.
I am really interested why
I like
teams
the Morgana.
do tend to just keep picking Thresh even though Morgana is up. I don't exactly agree with that, but you know the one thing I would really like to know about Thresh, right?
Yeah.
Is that if you spell shield as Morgana, it eats Thresh hook, right? But if you're Malzahar and you get hooked by Thresh, he can still come to you. Like, it doesn't eat his hook, like it hits you and it still stays on you. And I'd love for Riot
Same thing with Morgana. It's
No,
the same thing with
Morgana. The hook disappears completely.
Really?
Yep.
You sure?
Same with Sivir thing as well. Cancel the spell.
Huh, I thought it just stays on you and then you can still reactivate it.
No.
Okay, now we see a jungle pinch here. Yeah, we'll see that. Yeah, we'll probably see it. Vigo ban at Lanceres. Of Royalty, Lanceres probably has the smallest champion pool. Volibear ban, pretty interesting, but like kind of expected.
I expect Royalty to just run this out with an Olaf and the Orianna. I don't see why that's not a good...
Yeah, Lily are still available as well. That can be picked here, so...
This is true.
Ooh, 200 years of gameplay, or of game design. We're finally getting that.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad pick into the Ashe Thresh lane. I think with Morgana they can have early game pressure. Very interested to see what Garth picks here. Does Garth decide to go like Kha'Zix or Lee Sin and go and invade the Graves, or potentially even Hecarim?
Kindred, okay. I mean, there's a lot of mid laners still available. Stuff like Ziggs is still available. Corki is obviously available. There's a couple of Orianna. Oh, the signature Orianna from Lanceres. He is very good. Royalty, a team that plays around it very well. I think most of the top teams in South Africa like Orianna because you can play around it a lot. So there's not really a way to get it in unless you're going to use it with Thresh. So we're going to see the proficiency on that. And Era again, was it them that opted for the Lissandra last time when we were?
No, it wasn't. I think it was the team that was playing against that opted for the Lissandra the first game.
So maybe they found it a little annoying, so they're going to pick the Lissandra this time. Looking at the comps, right? Now, Royalty's comp, a lot more onus on them to do stuff. They have to actually, it's hard for them to pull the trigger and fight. It's not just like easy setup with like Ornn and Lissandra and stuff like that. So that is a big weakness of them. But if you look at the lanes, individually the lanes are favor Royalty, I think. Pretty sure.
I mean, Royalty do still have Enchanted Crystal Arrow. They still have the Thresh to make picks. Yes, the Morgana can sort of black shield those two, but they still do have the potential to use Fog of War to their advantage. And Tiltosaurus being a very, very proficient support, in my opinion, in terms of vision control, I think he's potentially one of the best. So definitely looking forward to seeing that sort of happen. But also, I do feel like, barring maybe the bot lane, Royalty have a lot of pressure in the lanes. And Garth might actually end up with Lane Kingdom here if he manages to get an early invade in, just because Lissandra not exactly the best into Orianna early. I do think Ori can get the early push off. I think the Ashe and the Thresh, depending on whether they pull for the Kindred or not, could also go to lane early and get the early, look for the early level 2 and potentially look to zone Aphelios and Morgana if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like a lot. I like a lot of the era picks. I like the Ornn. I like the Morgana. I like the Graves. Aphelios is kind of meh, but it's not a bad pick. Like with what was available, I'd probably still pick Israel there, but not a bad pick by any means. The Lissandra is out of place to me. Now I know, like, yes, you have some team fight prowess there. Then I've been harping on and on and on about it, but like Ziggs, it's just comfortable to play with. Like you can sit so far away and you can literally refuse to do anything in lane. So yeah, I don't mind the Lissandra because it's easy setup for your Graves if they do decide to gank mid and Lars just pushes the lane the whole time. So we'll have to wait and see how they use it and how they play with it.
I was about to say I don't feel like the Lissandra's that bad either in this comp. I just like there are other damage threats. You know, you've got Morgana to do at least a little bit of magic damage, so it doesn't matter if the Lissandra falls a little bit behind. You have the Graves to cover for the Aphelios if the Aphelios falls a little bit behind, and vice versa.
Mm.
And then you sort of have this big frontline on. My only issue with this whole comp from Era, I don't think it's particularly bad. I just feel like I've always said, like, when you face against these top teams, trying to go standard, I feel like might be a little bit of a mistake. I feel like you should maybe potentially pick something sort of out there to give you a little bit more of a chance because maybe they haven't played against it. But matching it up lane for lane, I feel like obviously Royalty have the advantage. But one of the biggest things for me is I feel like Bulwer Saggins really needs to come out of this lane on top, or at least come out of this lane even for him to actually be able to stand and be a frontliner for Era. I do think Lissandra kind of has that ability, even if she is behind, to just go in, alt herself, Zonya. She can stall out and do large amounts of damage, especially with the Kindred. I
Yeah.
think because everyone will pile onto the Kindred ulti, I think that is quite useful. And Morgana with the Dark Chains, I think that sort of doubles. Aphelios ulti also very good. So, like, it's all going to come down to execution because I can say the exact same thing. Like, we've got Orianna, we've got Ashe, we've got like lots of picks from Royalty that also kind of work well with Kindred and can kite stuff out, especially if people start piling on. You've got a big shockwave. I do think Era have got a better team comp to deal with the Lamb's Respites, like kind of popping people afterwards. But the question is, are the members of Royalty going to be low enough for them to actually do it at the end of the day?
Yeah, and like I said at the start, the onus on like team fight execution is a lot harder for the side of Royalty in this comp. But if you're the side of Era and you come out of laning phase, let's say 14, 15 minutes side, you come out of laning phase and you're 4k, 5k gold behind, this comp all of a sudden from Royalty will just run you over. And there's not much that can stop the bleeding from the side of Era here. So, yeah, it's gonna take a lot of from both teams. I think. I think the comp is easier to pull off for the side of Era, and Morgana. I just always like Morgana because to play with it, not against it. Because if you get hit by a Morgana Q, later you're just stuck standing there for 5 minutes.
And I am a little bit worried for Era. I just think they really need to look for like a good early game sort of to spot out where this Kindred is, and I'm gonna be looking to see if they can sort of take control of the map and try and deny Garth from getting his stacks on the Kindred, because Garth is a player that can take over the game, and I feel like this year has been Garth's sort of standout year. He's been playing incredibly well. He's hit a really high elo at the moment, and just in general, Garth has been performing incredibly well. I don't know if I'm ever gonna actually go into game. I'm just stuck on 0
Yeah,
seconds.
same. Don't worry, I just got it now.
But I do feel like Era really do need to find a way to kind of stop the top half of the map, because we know exactly how. I feel like I know exactly how this lane is gonna go. In terms of Jet sort of just like abusing Bilbo Saggins in the top lane. Um, And yeah, I just think like at least there isn't there isn't really good setup for error to kind of get these ganks off on the Mordekaiser. Anyway,
Yeah,
let me
definitely.
give you the countdown quickly.
Let's go. I'm
And
ready. Are you ready?
3,
Are you hyped?
2, 1, go. Yeah, dude, I'm super hyped. I've been really keen to cast one of these games. I'm actually gonna stand
100%.
up.
Yeah, I'm also
Very
gonna stand up. I'm just waiting for the cameras to go off so people don't look at my poop ends.
well,
So
when you get the chance.
there we go. Okay.
There we go. Okay, cool. We do
So-
see both teams sort of. Oh, lacquer. We get a
Ah,
pull
nice.
anyway. Nice. Well, we do see the teams sort of spreading out at the moment, just getting ready, trying to like preempt for that invade. It's going to be interesting to see if Garth does decide to walk up, put the ward down, and recall like Neutron did, to see
Yeah.
if we can get that sweeper early. I do feel like if Kindred has vision control, she is quite a scary champion, especially because she can sort of. She's really good at early duels. Like you don't really
Yeah.
struggle, and even into Graves, I do think Kindred's quite a good pick. Graves does sort of struggle to get in her face because she can just sort of kite him out, having the longer range.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
yeah. But we'll see. I would really like to see like young Zinc going like, balls to the wall and like having ignite and smites and like going and seeing if he can like take it to Garth, early and looking
Yeah.
for the early scuttle fight potentially, especially due to the fact that Garth is he's gonna fight you for the first scuttle stack. Like it's gonna happen.
No,
But-
definitely. And I'm curious to see how they play this. Jetlas is someone who can get ganked easily because he plays very up and very aggressive. He does tend to not ward when he's supposed to. So I'm curious to see if young Zinc he does pass towards that top side, try and punish Jetlas and make his life a little harder in this matchup top lane. Because we know Ornn can be a menace. But also if this Mordekaiser gets ahead, we saw what Bilbo Saggins did on it when he played the Mordekaiser. It can just run down your whole team and make just life increasingly hard to want to play.
And like if the Ornn is behind as well, like Ornn really needs to set up for the Mord. Like to be absolutely honest, like Graves, yes, he is proficient, but without red buff, it's going to be pretty hard for him to just gank straight up, like kill the Mordekaiser. So Ornn really has to be in a position to be able to catch Jetlust out with that sort of CC. So I think it's definitely going to come down to that 2v2 in my opinion. I'm a little bit worried for Era Stardust in this matchup, as I do see Lance does have cleanse. So
You see two cleanses on the side of Royalty. On Van there's a cleanse and on Lance there's a cleanse.
yeah. Oh, let me just set up my objective timers, the scoreboard.
Oh yeah, I also want my objective timers. Like having objective timers. Okay, so we see a top side start for both sides. So I think they're just gonna like path down, maybe meet at the bot side scuttle and fight around there. I do have a pause.
My game just froze.
Mine as well. Okay, and now it went on.
Okay,
I'm on 52, 53, 54. Okay, cool. Cool. So at least we're all getting paused together. That's not too bad. Okay, the early shove coming out from mid for Lance. He already has a little bit of prior, a little bit of hit, so he hits level 2 first. I think the side of Royalty is level 2 first in the bot side as well. Probably going to see some aggression. Already aggression coming out from the mid lane. That wave being pushed, yeah.
I do think.
And now they just have to forfeit this wave, yeah?
I got another pause. I'm stuck again.
Same.
Spectator, why you do this to us?
No, I don't think that's going to change.
21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Are you guys on the same? 26.
I'm at 28, 29.
30 now. Okay, let's just pause at 40 and then.
Okay, resync.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, this is a small indie company. Royalty is a small indie company, so we don't... Not Royalty, sorry. Riot Games is a small indie company.
Okay, cool. Is everyone synced up at 240?
Yes, I'm there.
Carl, you there? Okay, cool. 3, 2, 1, and go. Yeah, the one thing I was interested in, I really did expect sort of Royalty to look to get that early push. They do have it now, but not to the extent that I was expecting. I was potentially looking at them to like hard shove the first wave, so that it would crash, so it could potentially come back to them. Ooh, great death sentence landing. The Bishop getting taken down to about 300 HP. Ooh.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. She does have a pot and a cookie on her. So it's not going to be the end of the world. And with her W, if she hits a Van until the sword, she does get a little bit of spell vamp. So she's not completely out of this lane, but she needs to be careful.
She needs to not walk into all of those volleys as well. That's really not helping her situation at the moment. Good Bella's breath coming through in the top lane.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Finding the grave.
Finds,
Is the death sentence going to come up until Source does flash in? Young dodges it out. Garth might look to flash follow, deciding rather to back away. Stardust going aggressive on Lanceros. I don't know if he really wants that fight. I don't think he really wins. Not a very good trade. Garth looking to see if he can take away the chickens.
Oh, he finds him.
After the grave again. This is sort of the aggression I was talking about that I expected to see coming through from Garth.
Yeah.
And Bobo Sagan's not having a fun time in the top lane.
Yeah, and those are the kind of moves you can make as a jungler when you just have absolute lane priority. You saw that Lance has lane priority in mid lane, and that Van and Tilt had lane priority bot lane to the extent where Tilt can just walk up and come help him and make Young Zing, you know, his life even more bad. But he is ahead in CS on the first back.
This mid lane looking very rough at the moment for the Lissandra. She is already like getting doubled in CS by the Orianna. And Lance just standing at the tower at the moment. And this is sort of the pressure that I was talking about, where Garth does have the opportunity to sort of get lane kingdom in this situation.
Because the Young Zing did attempt to gank mid, and then he just sees, okay, no, Lance walks back, so there must be a ward somewhere this side. And he then sweeps it. Correct play from his side. And we saw Kiddo wreak havoc with the Orianna pick, especially with this phase rush. She just becomes so fast, and it's so hard to hit her with any spells. And she can play very aggressive and very like jump around type, run around Orianna. So I'm wanting to see the same thing out of Lance, see if he can do the same thing. I don't expect him to be as proficient as Kiddo on Orianna, seeing as Kiddo is Kiddo, obviously, and you have to give the man the respect that he deserves. So, see, just lanes being cleared out here. 5 CS lead in top lane, not the end of the world. It's like just a little bit less than a wave. There's a CS lead for
at the dragon.
Ooh.
This looks like we're gonna have a dragon fight right now.
Yeah. They're taking a lot of freeze damage.
Does land onto the graves. He gets taken down to about half HP. Aphelios is the next in line. Here comes the shockwave through from Lanceros. Doesn't manage to get anybody, but does get a flash. Bishop busy getting autoed down. Meanwhile, Royalty are gonna pick up. Ooh, flash coming through from Stardust.
Oh, he still comes.
Does manage to get the frozen tomb. This should be an easy kill. That's first blood going over. Meanwhile, Young Zing looking to see if he can fight Lanceros. He's going to get taken up by Tiltosaurus in the end. I feel like you'll take that as if you're Royalty, you know?
Yeah, but that's the power of the Lissandra. If she catches you on low HP, there's a lot of CC. We saw even Garth jumping and flashing away. But Lissandra's like, no, sorry, I come with Claw. And, you know, just ends up killing Garth. And very well played from Stardust there.
But Stardust doesn't have flash up now.
Yes.
So we're going to see how Lance decides to play out the lane. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we do see Jetlust getting taken down quite low. But sort of healing it up. Mordekaiser things, you know?
Yeah, Mordekaiser can be a very obnoxious champion to deal with. And we do see Young Zink pathing up. I don't know if Garth will spot him. Oh, he just did the scout tool. And they did see him on the scrying orb there.
Yeah. So, really nice adaptation coming through from the Ornn in the top lane with Bilbo Saggins getting that Negatron cloak straight off the bat. And I think that is why these trades aren't going as one-sided as I expected them to go in the top lane. So I do think that's a really good buy straight off the bat.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, you won't get bullied that hard out of lane more. Bilbo, nice Bella's breath again. Just dodging out the claw grab. I don't know what it's called. What is it called on?
Dude, you are asking.
Death's Grasp.
Death's Grasp.
Yes.
DFG, dude. They brought it back.
Yes.
They just gave it to Mordekaiser, that's all. It's kind of similar to DFG.
I missed that.
Right?
I missed that item.
Your DFG was a broken item.
Play that on any assassin or Veigar. Oh, every time Jetlust tries to get that Death Grasp off, the Bulbasaur is just better breathed out. But this lane doesn't look great for him. Young Zing coming in here to relieve some pressure. It's not actually going to relieve any pressure. He just walked up, and Jet's just going to keep on playing up. Oh, another death sentence.
Bishop today looking to see what he can get done. Doesn't manage to get away, but here comes Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Vans, and they're just going to walk away, but they did have to expend the heal.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that's not the worst thing in the world. You trade heal for Ignite, not the end of the world. You know, Enchanted Crystal Arrow also off. Bilbo is trying. If
we see Lissandra looking to see if she can potentially get out Jet. Jet doesn't have Flash anymore.
He doesn't have ult either.
All of the Forge Gods does manage to knock him up. The Frozen Tomb should be available, does come out, and here comes Young Zink, gonna be able to pick up Jet, and that's gonna be a kill going over to the Graves.
Yeah, and that's that adaptation that we talked about. He likes playing up a lot, and Aerosol just TP's back mid. I think he probably could have walked mid, but you know, not the end of the world. And you know, Jet not getting really much for that relentless aggression that he did show. He does have a nice 11 CS lead, but you know, he's not doing much to the Ornn. And if this Ornn can get out of lane not too far behind, you know, that I think Aero last time takes that every time.
Yeah. Ooh, Graves fighting with Young Zink does manage out to dodge the Q from the Graves. Here comes Lance. Thought he would look to get the kill. Air Stardust is zoning them out. Don't know why Lance not taking the fight right now, because Stardust doesn't have Frozen Tomb. Maybe that wasn't communicated or something, but yeah, nice aggression coming through from the Graves.
Yeah, and the biggest discrepancy right now is probably in this bot lane. There's a 30 CS lead for the side of Vanzo and Tiltosaurus. So they're just absolutely showing dominance right now. There is an item lead for the side of Apollo currently, because Van has not backed yet. Van's sitting on 1,100 gold. So there is an item lead for Apollo, even though he's down. Down both times and down a level.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like the way this game is sort of playing out. I really expected Garth to sort of be in the driver's seat, and it seems he has been taken onto the back foot a little bit, but sadly, I mean, Jet sort of dying in the top lane kind of lost him a little bit of lane tempo. He does appear to just sort of be standing back exactly in the same position where he was in the lane before. Would really like to rather see him potentially freezing the lane out than just hard shoving the lane into the Ornn.
Yeah, definitely. If he freezes his wave on the Ornn, there's nothing he can really do about it, because he can't walk up and farm. If he tries to walk up and farm, you can always just threaten to kill him and use Death Realm. Especially if you freeze it around a little bit above your tower, and then you're very safe to gags.
Ooh, good flash coming through from Stardust. Does manage to try to turn it onto Lanceris. You have to use the claw to get away. That was quite flashy, but also did end up using his flash.
Yeah, and Young Zing playing very well. It has to be said. Ooh. It has to be said, he's been farming well. He is ahead of Garth in that, and you know, for the fact that he doesn't have any lane prior on any lanes, he has been performing very admirably. That's a hard word.
I do agree with you, but sadly he hasn't been able to sort of deal with Garth just taking every single dragon. He's just been a little bit too slow. I mean, they did catch out or punish Garth at least for taking the first dragon. But
yes,
I totally also forget. You'll probably find the reason Garth's also had such an easy time with all the objectives is because the Hawkshot has been going through the camps and just spotting out the Graves all the time by Van. So it's quite easy for him to just do kind of what he wants in the Graves' jungle. I don't think Garth can 1v1 the Graves, but also the Graves did manage to pick up the Rift Herald in the meantime. I don't know how I managed to miss that.
Directed camera, let's just blame directed camera.
Oh, they might just turn straight onto Apollo. I expected them to turn straight onto Apollo.
Yeah.
Bishop there.
Van, they're gonna fall, man.
They're walking straight up. Van's just gonna auto attack Bishop, and we do see the Aphelios ult coming out. They're trying to turn the damage around onto the Aphelios. Meanwhile, under the tower. But here comes Garth looking to see if he can get some help in onto his mid laner, and this should be Stardust going down. Garth Miller picking up the kill.
Yeah. You know, and they expended like a lot to go down bot lane and try and take advantage of the Rift Herald and take advantage of Van and Tolsaurus, but it just didn't end up working because Van and Tolsaurus like, cool, you think you're ganking us? No, 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 sir. We are fighting you. So yeah,
There's a
just
little
that
bit of,
relentless aggression we were talking about. Sorry.
there was a little bit of a display from Bishop walking up without the
Yeah.
pop, using the black shield on the graves, and honestly, he's lucky that he did survive, and that Van and Tilt were a little bit disjointed because I feel like they should have been punished much harder for that, but they got away with it, and Bishop managed to just sneak out.
Yeah. No, definitely. And it has to be said, like, okay, there's already a 3k gold lead for the side of Royalty, so if you are Era, you're not very happy. Ooh, ganking mid lane.
Does manage to proc the phase rush, but here comes Young Zing. Era's looking for the claw over, will be able to get it, actually doesn't
nice.
pull it. Meanwhile, in the Death Realm, we've got Jet fighting out Bilbo Saggins. Bilbo's gonna get the knock up, he's not gonna be able to, oh, does actually flash away. Jet's gonna follow, is he gonna bonk him on the head? Yes.
Just use the obliterate to kill him. Oh, Garth in mid lane.
Off, flash is straight after him. That Frozen Tomb felt like it was like
Very short.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might be running some tenacity in his ruins.
Oh, of course he is.
Yeah. And then we also saw first tower going down in bot lane for the side of Royalty as well. And that gold lead didn't like Young Zing getting the kill there on Lanceras. So the gold lead just going up by another 1,000. Which is cause for concern if your Era lost time. Because like we said, if they come out of this laning phase 4 or 5k gold ahead, you know, it starts to look very tough for the side of Era lost time.
This game is not exactly looking as like one-sided as I expected. Yes, Royalty do have a 3k gold advantage at 15 minutes, but I mean, when we watched 80k playing, we did see them building almost, I think they're like a 7k gold lead by 15 minutes.
No, definitely.
I mean,
and I think it's a lot on the back of Young Zing. Young Zing has been doing very well for the side of Era last time. I feel like he's been doing a lot of work.
Even Stardust has been playing quite well, but we do see Jet roaming down. Here comes the shockwave from Lanceras. Does manage to kill out Bishop. Morgana flash, and then Young Zing chasing after Lanceras. Lanceras stuck in no man's land. Now they're trying to turn onto Jetlust. The claw is coming out from Stardust. Not going to be able to get the Maud, but meanwhile in the top lane, Royalty are just exchanging that little bit of aggression and punishing it by taking a tower, and they should be able to get 2 turrets here. Van looking to see if he can pick up as many plates as possible right now.
Yeah, he's just running around getting plates. He is 50 CS ahead of Apollo as well now, which is cause for concern if you're lost time. But Young Zing, again, you know, doing a lot of work, and it just feels like wherever there's something happening, Young Zing is involved.
Yeah, Young Zing doing incredibly well. I mean, Van's the richest on the server at the moment with 6.4k gold, but Young Zing sitting on 6.3k gold, and that's not something I really expect to see considering the fact that Van is the most farmed and has gotten the most objectives in the game so far.
No, definitely. And he's got a lot of plate gold. They took their tower in bot lane, they went up to the top lane. Okay, the plate's already down when they went up top lane, but they got another tower there, so you know, very well done from Young Zing so far. And I feel like right now it's very much on the back of him and this Lissandra to start doing stuff. Or to keep doing stuff.
The timers and the back time is just not working out for Era lost time at the moment though. Royalty just getting every single Drake, like, sole point at 17 minutes. Like, that's a 23-minute soul dragon. That's scary. Drake is a 5-minute reset time. That is a really scary thought. Van picking up another tower.
Yeah, he's just running around, like, killing towers right now. He's like, cool, I don't even care about fighting, I'll just go and destroy bases the whole time. So, we do see a two-level lead for the side of Vanza as well.
Ooh. Death Sentence does land. They're gonna try to turn onto Bishop. Bishop does use the Dark Chains, doesn't manage to do anything.
Good shot,
arrow onto Graves. Graves is gonna go down. Failure soon to follow. That's a triple kill going over to Garth, Ryan, Miller.
And all of a sudden, Garth is huge. Like, now if he catches Young Zing anywhere by himself, Young Zing's gonna have a tough time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's...
Van is going hard on Bilbo Saggins as well, down to 300 HP. Royalty
And
just
this
sort
is-
of... Yeah?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Royalty just sort of outperforming. Ooh, Jetlust finds Stardust. Is gonna use the
Death
Death
Grasp.
Grasp and is gonna
Oh.
bonk him on the head again, and this Mordekaiser looks really scary at the moment.
Yeah, and we saw the same thing kind of from ATK, but more ATK was more like around the map, you know, making proactive stuff with proactive moves with the Twist Fate and things like that. But this is usually where you see like your top teams kind of put their foot on the gas pedal and be like, okay, cool, now we're gonna go. Like, you know, the laning phase is they kind of relax and chill, and then once mid game and hits, all of a sudden guys is their foot is on the pedal, and now we see what's that for 8k lead, 8k gold lead for the side of Royalty, and I don't know who can answer like Jetlust in the side lane at all right now.
No, I do agree with you. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything wrong with the way Royalty are definitely playing. I definitely think like Royalty and ATK sort of have different playstyles. It feels like Royalty a much more methodic team at the moment. I mean, at least in this game, I'm kind of used to seeing Royalty playing that sort of ARAM or solo
That
queue
just fight the whole time.
chaos game, but this definitely looking like a different side of Royalty, and it's actually quite nice to see them sort of taking the game slowly, you know, and like getting every single objective. I think the only objective they've lost out on is one Rift Herald
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah, and other than that, it's looking pretty clean for the side of them. Obviously, Jet getting caught up there. Lance got caught with the over-aggression twice. So, you know, definitely mistakes are being made, and the side of Era are capitalizing on a lot of these mistakes, but clearly not all of them at the moment. And Van's already sitting on Aces Reaver plus Runons, so that's scary.
I would really have liked to see the Morgana potentially not going nobies. Ooh,
Ooh.
Young Thing walking in. Jetlust can jump over the wall, so
Huh?
he's safe. Jetlust doesn't know he's about to be surrounded by 3 members. Does get knocked up. I don't think he's gonna be alive
Is this
for much
Baron?
longer.
I think there's
That's a quick shutdown, but they are doing Baron in the meantime.
a 20-minute Baron.
That's the power of Kindred and Ash, man. And that's
Yeah. I don't know if the call there was for Jay to just fight and get attention there, but we saw like 4 members of Era congregated around that blue side of their own blue side, and the call from Royalty just comes in. Okay, cool, just do Baron.
Yeah.
And now, you know, you're in a tough position if you're Era. You know, Ocean Soul is coming up, or like in a minute, and you're not gonna have prior on any lanes, especially with this Baron coming in, so this is going to be very self.
And if you fight this dragon and you mess it up, they get the soul. Ooh, Bilbo Sagan's in a bad spot here.
Ooh, he's doing a lot of work.
Landry's fight is available. Garth doesn't need to use it. I don't know. The redemption's coming out. He's trying to turn it around, but I don't think he has the damage. Vanza with the KS.
Vanza just walks up, it's like, guys, I see you're having trouble here. Let me just throw out a volley and take the kill. My KD is better now. Yeah, that is. I mean, I think Garth still wins that. He held on onto his ult, obviously.
Ooh,
Oh, Young Zink.
Young Zink caught out in a bad space. Garth gonna flash forward, see if he can get on. Does
Ooh,
get a little bit outplayed. Oh, it does turn on. Lamb's spot does come through. So does the ulti from the Philios. Meanwhile,
Oh, they do get him.
800
Big
gold
shutdown.
But there's no jungler, and Royalty should get the Ocean Drake for free.
Yeah, no junglers are available right now. Van is just got to walk in solo, it looks like.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they have Prime in every lane. And now a 22-minute Ocean Soul. And you have Baron. This is looking very tough for the side of Air last time.
God, it's hard to even build up hype right now. I mean, this game is very one-sided. There are these little glimmers of light that do come through, but sadly, Royalty always sort of playing their style is definitely more. It's like less interesting to cast, kind of a way.
It is.
They're always trading for something. So like where one player is dying, they're getting another objective somewhere else on the map, and I think that's why we've ended up with the 10k gold advantage in their favor at 22 minutes.
I mean, and you see that when they play ATK or they play EVO and stuff like that. Royalty's like, cool, we're not going to try and if we're out of position to trade from... Oh! John Chris are going down mid.
Does land onto the Aphelios. Here comes the shockwave. Doesn't manage to catch him. Apollo running for his life.
Good dog binding or yeah.
Dark shield. Black shield.
Black shield, but the binding as well. He hits Lanceros.
Oh, it's
So that was good.
What's with dark chains? I don't know what's wrong with me.
What's it called? Soul Shackles. What's the old called?
Yeah, so
Oh yeah. But we see Royalty always play this kind of thing. If they're out of position to contest an objective, they just trade for the objective, trade something else for it. And that's what we haven't even seen a proper team fight. We've just seen like people being picked off or like small skirmishes and stuff like that. And you can see that with there only being 18 kills right now in this 23 minutes, and Royalty's not getting base.
But Van does turns out. Here comes Call of the Forge God on to 3. Van does get knocked up and Frozen Tomb does come up, and Van gets caught on the other side of the wall. Meanwhile, they are on the land just right waiting for the heal. Tilt Source flashes away.
Lance is not there.
And Lance is busy roaming around looking. Oh,
Chance Chris out. Oh, field goal. Big field goal there.
I don't know what exactly. I felt a bit off with the timing there, but you know.
Oh, my bad view.
There comes the knockup through from the Orn. Bulbo Saggins gets pulled in, forced to flash away. Meanwhile, the Aphelios trying to 1v1 the Ashe. But Rampage going across over to the side of Vanza, and that's a double kill for Van actually. And 3 people going down from Era last time, and
yeah,
you know,
now they're just waiting for this. Yeah,
at the
now
Ashe
they're just waiting for the
coming
minion wave. Yeah, Ocean Soul seems fair.
yeah.
You know, and they're just gonna take the inhib here probably. Golf is going okay.
Very aggro on the Graves, gets taken down to about 3 goes dead
good.
land. And that's going to be a very dead looking Stardust. He is trying to turn it around. Can he get some damage onto Van? Van surviving by the skin of his cheek. And there was no collateral damage, man. I was just expecting to see that Graves also blasting Vanza off the map.
And the 4 members of Era are up here. If Royalty isn't careful, they can get turned on here and do a flight waste.
Young take tons of damage. You know, they are still chasing on to this. Shockwave comes through. That's Aphelios getting taken down very low. 1 going down. There's 2 going down. Zonya's coming out from Bishop.
This
Bishop's going to get taken out. That's an ace coming through from Royal.
That's GG game 1. Holy. Okay. So, a statement coming out here from Royalty in game 1. 25 minutes. Even though laning phase was very uneventful, and even the mid game, you know, they just ramped it up heavily, come the mid game point, and once they started getting sold in all of these objectives, that's kind of crazy.
I don't think it was that uneventful. I think like there was like sort of like these sparks of life coming through from Era, and I do think Era were doing quite well. But I mean, like
definitely, Young Zinc played very well, in my opinion.
No, he definitely did, but at the same time, Goth did have a complete control over all the objectives, barring one. I definitely go turn on the light quickly. It's quite dark. But Young Zinc definitely like did manage to get the 1 rift tail, but apart from that, like all of his lanes are being shoved in, and I feel like this Graves didn't exactly alleviate enough pressure in the game, and I do sort of feel like that his team sort of just bled out because they had no way to sort of sit behind the towers and farm safely. And I mean, Royalty didn't even really go for plays. They didn't look to do tower dives. They literally just looked for, you know, your Dragon Soul win condition. And they got their Dragon Soul, and then they ended the game. That's basically how it went.
Yeah, they played a very measured game, in my opinion. It wasn't like anything crazy, anything outlandish. It was very measured, like, okay, cool. Okay, they're this side, let's just do this and trade. We do see Alpaca is in here. I don't know if he's going to draft or if he's playing this game. We will probably find out as soon as they are in. Okay, so Alpaca is playing this game instead of Lanceros. I'm thinking there's probably a load shedding issue with Lanceros or something. I'm not sure what is going on, but we will get that info as soon as we are going into game, so we know what's going on as well. But now we're going to see the difference between Alpaca and Lanceros. Alpaca has a lot more experience than Lanceros, and he does take over a different role than Lanceros, so that's going to be interesting to see. But it, as we said, Stardust did pretty well on that, Lissandre, and I kind of see why they picked it. I was giving it a little bit of, you know, flack at the start of the game, but, you know, it did work. They got first blood with it on Garth Ryan. They got that roam off in top lane. They killed, I think it was Lanceros with it as well. So it did do a lot of work. So I was really impressed by it. We'll see if they opt for it again. And then this time it will be royalty on red side and error on blue side. So they're just swapping sides.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just letting the players know that we are ready.
Let's go.
I do definitely think that was quite a clinic put on by Royalty. It's kind of the game that I expected to see, quite a one-sided game.
Yeah.
Even though the laning phase, like, it wasn't like they were just hungry and sort of like looking for blood, which is what I expected Royalty to play like. But it was nice to see
Yes.
them sort of like watering it down a little bit. Although, I mean, Gothram Miller just kind of power farming that game. I don't really think he needed to have too much presence in the lane. He just left Mordekaiser to sort of win out the lane as Mord
Yeah.
generally does. I definitely would like to see Era come in with sort of a more aggressive playstyle and look to sort of take the fight to Royalty as opposed to sort of these safe lane picks. I didn't dislike the Lissandra, but I do feel like Lissandra is one of those champions that I really feel like if you're not going like even like with your lane opponent, she becomes relatively useless, and she
Yeah.
doesn't do nearly as much damage as say an Oriana with like 50 CS more than you. And she doesn't.
Yeah.
She like if she's not jumping in and one-shotting someone, she's not doing her job. And if you're only going for fights every 5 minutes, like Era were, you're giving them time to have their cleanse up. They're just gonna walk away from you, and she literally becomes useless.
Yeah, and it just looked like that Era couldn't really find their footing. They got some picks here and there, like we saw them picking off Jetlust on the blue side quadrant of their jungle. So, but then it's kind of disheartening. You pick up a kill on the other team, and you're like, okay, good, we killed this guy, and then the other team just gets Baron at 20. And you're like, wait a second, that's not right. That's not what's supposed to happen. And that's what we just saw Royalty do. They like kept on trading. When they killed Jetlas in top lane, when they 3-man ganked him top lane, Royalty just got Dragon and got bot tower. It's like, okay, cool. It's like Royalty. It's like, cool. We don't really care about fighting. We just push our objectives and make and grow our gold lead. And yeah, it's a very different Royalty than that blood hungry Royalty that we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And that's usually how you see these. What happens when a top prem team versus a middle or a lower prem team? What happens is it's a very bloody game. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of just like out mechanicking each other, and just doesn't seem that that is the game that Royalty wants to play there.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you. But I think we're gonna cut to like a short little break. We're gonna play you guys some music. You guys can look at some of the team standings or some of the team
Something.
rosters, something. I'll give you something, and then we'll be right back as soon as the game has begun. Hear me or whichever. But
I'm back.
we are going over to game 2 between Royalty and Era Lost Time. I'm expecting to see potentially like a couple changes coming through from Era. I don't think they really need to ban anything differently. I just think they definitely need to pick sort of a more aggressive team comp. Are they going to ban? Okay, they are going to ban the Caitlyn away.
I'm expecting then Royal to ban Ashe and say, cool, let's both drop down to tier or like tier 80 carries, because that is usually the chosen meta or the chosen route that most teams go. It's like if we're blue side, we don't ban any of them unless you ban one, then we just pick the other one. So yeah, that's probably what we're going to see here. Galio ban coming in from the side of Royalty. Galio does set up very nicely. A lot of teams in South Africa like to play it. Gives you heavy roam potential and all of that. Era banning more or less the same stuff. They banned Caitlyn last game. They banned Karthus for Garthus. As everyone knows, he can be a real menace on that champion. So yeah, we'll see if there's any adaptations from Royalty. Not really, just any ban again.
I really don't like the Caitlyn ban. I'd really rather see, you know, something else coming out, because I mean, I do feel like Royalty would rather ban the Caitlyn away than have to play against it, especially if you are like banning Caitlyn last or banning Ashe last, then you force Royalty to sort of ban the Caitlyn yourself. In this situation, I mean, there's a possibility that Royalty will ban it, but I think Royalty pretty confident from the previous game, so I don't know if they're actually going to ban the Ashe. They might leave it open and just pick something that they can run over the Ashe with.
Yeah, I think that most of the time you just ban the Ashe, but it can be that Royalty just decide, no, that's not necessary, and they ban the Yuumi. So Ashe is available for the side of Era 2 first pick. Let's see if they go the same route as Royalty did the previous game with that first pick Ashe. And if they do, like, I just expect like strong picks again. Or do they go the Mordekaiser? Boba Sackers is very comfortable on.
Or Set.
Or the Graves.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff available right now. This big ban from Royalty is mostly targeted, and the side of Era is mostly targeted, except for really Caitlyn. There's a lot of the Morgana first pick. Interesting. So they did do very well with the Morgana. Bishop was hitting a lot of dark bindings and looking good on it. So yeah, I was gonna say the Ashe is just gonna be picked again.
Maybe not more. Maybe just go Ashe Graves. I feel like that's viable right now.
Yeah, actually. Especially because Young Zing did look pretty comfortable on Graves. Just taking that away. But Garth might just say, cool, I don't mind the Kindred Graves matchup, so no, you're not picking Zima. Don't troll.
I think he's gonna pick Graves again. They're gonna pick they're gonna
Ashe
pick
Karma.
Ashe. I expected him to pick the Karma like a bit later instead of picking
I expected I was expecting it on R3 as well, seeing as they already showed the mid laner, or not the mid lane, sorry, their support. Ashe Karma very strong into Morgana, into any lanes really. Okay, Senna Morgana, not a bad lane at all. Senna is a pretty strong AD carry still. Hecarim being picked up is very high up in priority. A lot of South African teams are playing it. If you're out of position as Ashe or as anyone, actually, you can just die to the Hecarim. And we'll see if Young Zing can... Olaf.
Olaf Graves? What else do you want to play? I feel like Olaf Graves can still go the Kindred as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, probably just pick the Kindred. Or they might just pick their top lane here. Evelyn! Ooh, okay! Alright, I see you, Garth Ryan Miller. This is something that I was not expecting at all. To be honest, I don't think we have seen Evelyn. No, we have. Yeah, no. I'm thinking about LCS.
No,
we haven't seen.
We have seen one.
Who?
I can't remember who played one. One of the very first games I think we cast, someone played Evelyn.
It's very possible. We have cast a lot of games. I can't really remember what we have seen and what we haven't. And then the Lissandra being banned out. Just saying, cool. Okay, you kind of annoyed us with it. That's a lot. It's a lot of CC, and I have a lot of roam potential in setting up stuff. So they just take it away. And yeah, just trying to take away the comfort. I'm expecting probably either another mid lane, or maybe just an Ornn ban for top lane. A Mordekaiser ban isn't bad. Or they might just
They banning Mordekaiser. I wonder what we're gonna see coming through from Royalty. I do expect them to leave the last pick up to Jetlust, and they're probably just gonna pick another Orianna or potentially a different mid laner.
Or Ziggs or Diana is up this game. It wasn't up the previous one. They also banned Vigar the previous game. Ornn ban, okay. So a lot of top laners are out. Renekton is still available. Camille is still available. GP is still available. But Volibear is still available. Set's still available. There's a lot of top laners. So these top laners are by no means really S tier top laners. Except for like, ooh,
Of
Lucian.
course, Alpaca playing.
Alpaca is playing.
Sorry,
Man,
I'm being a
what
potato.
are we? What are we thinking?
Why are we going for the Oriana? This is just going to be a really aggressive game, in my opinion. This will be a totally different side
100%.
of royalty now.
Yeah, we're gonna see Royalty push the issue a lot more, especially with this Lucian pick mid. We're gonna see a lot of fighting. There is the Renekton Hover. Let's see if they lock it in. Renekton very, very strong right now. Blinded mostly over. He's one of the safest blinded top laners in the game right now.
He's blind?
Then a Zillion pick. Huh. So let's see what Royalty decides to go into Renekton. You can play something like a Mill, I think is fine into it. I'm not sure actually.
Yo.
Renekton's kind of safe against, or good against most things. So I have no idea what they are looking to pick up here. His signature Urgot isn't up or on. Yorick. Ooh.
Is that Targa?
Yeah.
You guys stopped
There's
playing?
Targa in the game. Camille,
There
there's
you
the Camille.
go.
Yeah. I was like, I did not like. Oh, Shen. Shen is very
Shen's
strong.
also really
And
good.
Shen does very well into Renekton. Because you can use your Shroud or that your W to block his stun. So yeah, that's pretty good team, and you have just a lot of map pressure right now. So yeah, that's pretty. And looking at the teams, good. It's a good comp from the side of Era, but once again, like the previous game, I just feel like they lack some damage. Previous game with Lissandra, you're lacking some damage. Now you're lacking again in some damage. And then you look at Royalty. Yeah, they don't have a great front line because they have Shen, but they have a hell of a lot of damage with Lucian, Evelyn, Ashe. And the Karma speed up can just make your life hell. Cause they can just basically run you down, or they can just like kite away from you when Renekton's trying to fight run at you. But if Bulbasaurus gets ahead in this lane, and he can get off some nice flanks with Young Zinc, they can cause a lot of havoc on this Royalty side and on the team fighting.
I do agree with you. I just also think that looking at Era's team comp, like lane for lane, I don't really feel like Stardust is gonna have a good time into Alpaca in the mid lane, especially on Zillion against Lucian.
Yeah, I don't think that's a nice matchup.
It's not the most fun matchup, especially an early game. I mean, once you get to a certain point, Zillion's bombs can just clear the way quite quickly, so then it's not so bad. But also, I don't really see any way of them killing Jet if he gets ahead here. Sen are notorious for not doing a lot of damage. I mean, Renekton could go for the 1v1 build, but Shen deals very well with Renekton.
Yeah, especially in the side lane.
Hecarim can cause havoc to the other champions in the team, but like, I still don't know how they're going to deal with the Shen. I know people would probably look at me and be like, yo, Shen's not going to be the biggest problem, with all those damage dealers. But I'm like, how are you going to deal with the Shen? How are you going to deal with the Karma using a mantra to sort of like move everybody around, and Ashe to sort of slow down the Hecarim? Like, playing Hecarim into Ashe is not exactly the funnest matchup in the world. There's no argument there. She can literally just hit you square in the face with an enchanted crystal arrow and stop you dead in your tracks and just kite you out. Like, it is something that Ashe is very capable of doing. So,
yeah, no, definitely. And I'm very excited to see how they play this. Karma, we see a lot of priority on Karma from ATK and from Royalty in the other games they played. So this is something that a lot of the teams are just like, cool, you can take Morgana, we'll just pick Karma, and Karma does very well into Morgana. A lot of people consider it a counter, seeing as you can just queue away her shield, and the fact that you can mantra E and just walk away a lot of ganks. So when Renekton and Hecarim tried to jump on Ashe, she can mantra shield everyone to run away, and then use her W to kind of root the person in place. And when Ashe is free hitting someone, that thing's gonna die pretty fast. So yeah, that we'll see what they decide to go for here and how they're gonna play it out. At the end of the day, again, Royalty's comp is a lot harder to execute when it comes to team fights. But we saw in the previous game, there was one team fight. Like, they're like, cool, we're just going to out-rotate you. We're going to out-macro you. We're just going to be all around the map. And you're not going to be able to do much about it. And we'll see if they decide to do the same thing now.
gotta warn us before you just randomly show my face on camera. But the one thing I do think is really important in this game is that there is a lot of like prowess on Young Zing to sort of carry this game, especially due
Yeah.
to the fact that he's got the Zillion there to sort of give him the speed boost. And like, honestly, my honest opinion is that if this Hecarim doesn't pop off, it's going to be very, very hard for him because on the other side of royalty, you have 3 champions that can easily
him.
take over the game as well.
Yeah.
Like Lucian, if he decide whatever build he decides to do, can be super oppressive. Like
Yeah.
in the side lane, Renekton's going to struggle incredibly hard to 1v1 Illusion, especially if we end up in that situation. Zillion, I don't think will be able to do really anything to Shen later, so that completely. I mean, Zillion can just nullify the lane, but Shen's not going to be worried about side laning into the Zillion. And then when you look at the rest of the lane, like Evelyn pick for me is one of those sort of picks, especially with these sort of squishier champions, like Renekton who builds Bork these days. Like Evelyn has the power to completely take over this game, and we all know
One
what
shot.
that solo queue game feels like once Evelyn hits 6. Like you get charmed and you're dead. Like you just get assassinated. So if they don't shut Garth Ryan Miller down, I feel like he can potentially take over the game and have that sort of like that Evelyn presence on the map. Oh, I need to pause. Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Cool.
Yep, I'm on 10.
Okay, cool. In 3, 2, 1, and go.
Okay, but yeah, like you said, if Evelyn gets ahead, you know, we see her get like 3-4 kills, start rolling, or even 2 kills. She's just gonna start one-shotting things. Now, yes, cool. They have the Zillion with Ignite. I don't know if that is normal. I would probably opt for TP in this, so I'm not. That's not the greatest thing in the world, but Evelyn's just gonna start one-shotting things, and even if you use Zillion ult now, you don't have it for anything else.
The invade coming through.
Alright, Garth does spot them.
Yeah. Are they gonna drop a ward though? Are you not? Are they not gonna drop a ward? Are they gonna drop a ward?
I have no idea. We'll see.
Someone
Yeah, they
does
do
drop
drop a ward.
eventually. So that's not too bad.
Then- yeah.
TP back, I think, and pick up his sweeper.
Yeah, and then we just see the side of the bot lane of Royalty just invading the bot side of Era to see if they get, or to get some deep vision, and to just annoy the side of Era, it looks like.
They do need to be a little bit careful here.
Yeah.
Yes, they might get a little bit of damage off, but I mean, there is the
But-
potential. Ooh. Okay, they are just gonna be a
A
nuisance.
little, just be a little nuisance there. They did see Bishop on a ward, so that is expected. And now Apollo, oof, okay. Just gonna take some free damage.
A lot of early training
As well.
from Royalty.
Yeah, and now this lane is just obnoxious for you if you are oh, that ward's just gonna go out. They will know where he started still.
I'm so low on this first clear. Stardust is
Yeah.
crying B emerging it out.
It's like, oh, this early aggression, this isn't fun. He went from a lane where he's like, okay, cool. Yes, I got shoved in the whole time, but he didn't really aggressively trade with me. And now all of a sudden he's in a lane where he's just aggressively trading a lot. Now, a lot of owners here is on Bilbo Saggins to win this lane. Now, it is a very hard lane to win. It kind of feels impossible to win this lane. But he's in a pick that doesn't really offer much to the rest of the map the way Shane does. Now, I'm expecting Era to gank top lane heavily, seeing as you want to actually gank the lane that has the global instead of ganking away from it. Because if they gank bot lane, Shen can just show up and then you're outnumbered still.
Yeah, and I mean, if any of you guys have followed Royalty, there's one thing we know that like is synonymous with getting ganked, and that is Jet in the top lane.
Yeah, no, definitely. So he does actually ward early, a little early, but not the end of the world. So he will spot the Hecarim coming towards the top lane and probably just walk it out. Yeah, he does here.
Did he? No, he did.
Yeah, he didn't trade back. I expect if he didn't see me, probably just would have all in the Renekton. And we just see Garth gonna wait for the Scuttle in bot side. Just gonna trade Scuttles. No need for him to fight the Hecarim early. Yeah, we do see pings as well coming in.
It is very interesting seeing the Zillion with the Ignite and like the Lucian with the TP. It feels like they're like
Yeah,
cosplaying
swapped.
each other, you know, like.
Yeah, 100%.
This is going to be... Ooh, we do see a good trade. Here comes the Hecarim, looking to see if he can potentially get the knockback onto Jet. Doesn't get him back too far. Jet's being taken very low, forced to flash away. Like, good move. They must have been listening to you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jet, I think it's very well known to everyone, Jet is very susceptible to ganks because he is not scared to fight ever. He will literally go back in lane and keep on fighting people. So, I kind of want to see some measuredness coming in from the side of Jet, like that he doesn't just perma fight all the time and put himself in these bad positions. But as I say that, he's trading with Bulbo seconds in top lane. Yeah.
So bad.
No, definitely not a bad trade.
I also think this game is going to be a little bit slow. Bulbo seconds needs to be a little bit careful here. He is caught under tower. Does take a turret shot, but does have flash, so it's pretty safe.
Yeah, and we already see some CS leads here for what is this fight between the supports? Directed camera wants us to see. It's like two supports just auto attacking each other. Yeah, that's what we needed to see. That's some good info. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh, okay, so there's a 2-wave lead in bot lane, and just a little less than a 2-wave lead. No, there's a 2-wave lead in mid lane as well. Because seeing as there's a huge wave crashing now for the side of Alpaca. So already there's some CS leads, and even though there was a gank top lane, Jetlas did not lose a lot for it, but he had to expend his TP, which is kind of huge since he's not going to get off a great back lane. Ooh, a lot of aggression, man.
Taken down very low. We do see Royalty busy doing the dragon. And I mean, this is the sort of like thing you expect, you know, with the amount of bot lane control that they do have, they can just easily take these dragons. And I do think it's something that Era is going to have to eventually like change, otherwise they're just going to continue to do it. Meanwhile, we do see coming up, but Era's got us taken very low. Did have flash up, chose not to use it.
Yeah, that is kind of oof there from the side of Stardust. Probably didn't think he was going to die, or he can just outrun it, and then wasn't able to.
It's quicker than recalling.
Technically, you're right.
Just wanted to quickly go back and buy, that's all.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know, that was a bit questionable, but you
Yeah.
don't want to Lucian an advantage this early in the game.
Yeah, and that was a huge wave that Alpaca crashed, you know. Okay, he does pick up the remainder of it, but now that CS lead in mid lane is even bigger, so this lane isn't going to get any better for him anytime soon. Probably here by level 9 it will get a little easier once he has his first completed item and a couple of points into his queue. Then he can clear these waves a lot easier, but until then it's not going to be a lot of fun for him.
It just feels so weird seeing a Zillion, which is like, you're picked more for the utility role, picking Ignite. I do feel like, obviously having TP wouldn't have saved him in that situation, but it might lead to him getting more farm, because he doesn't have to sit back as much, and sort of just take a beating. But yeah, the mid lane's looking incredibly rough at the moment, and we do see the Evelyn is 6. So I'm expecting to get some sort of ganks. We do kind of have these 2 power farming sort of junglers. So we're going to hopefully see some Hecarim and Evelyn action pretty soon.
Hecarim is hovering around mid-side, seeing as Alpaca is playing super aggressive. So probably wanting to look to punish him for playing that aggressive.
Almost seconds. Doesn't get caught up by Garth just yet. Does manage to avoid it. Dominus does come out, trying to get onto Jetlas. Shield does come out from the Shin. Meanwhile, Alpaca gets caught out in the mid lane. He's going to get taken out. Bulbo Saggins gets finished off by Garth, and we are going to see a trade of mid laner and top laner.
And that is a nice read there from Young Zing, saying, okay, cool. This Lucian's playing very up. He's playing very aggressive. The same as with Bulbo Saggins. He kept using his slice and dice to go forward and try and punish Jetlust on the Shen. And, you know, both junglers just being like, okay, cool, if you're going to overextend, I'm going to punish you for it. And that's what happened.
Yeah, Spirit's Refuge is what the zone, what do you call that thing? A field, a zone?
I call this Shroud. Like, yeah.
I suppose he is a ninja, so we could say it's a shroud.
Yeah, I don't know why I called it Shroud. And Vanzel getting hit by another dog binding. Earlier I had a conversation with him that where I said he always gets hit by dark bindings, and he said he doesn't.
Getting caught out on the Rift Herald. Needs to be careful. Does have ulti up. I think the Rift Herald does go across over to the side of Gothra and Miller. But
all sort of shadows.
Come out. Oh, did Hecarim get it?
I've no idea. It looks like it.
Does look like
he did.
Stardust trying to pick it up.
Oh,
Die for
gonna ink for it. I don't know if
that was worth it. We do see Garth gonna get donated over the kill by Alpaca.
Yeah. I don't know if that is the right play to make. They clearly thought it was worth it. That's why they did it. So, yeah. I don't know if that's... if they can use it to knock down like first brick or something like that, maybe then it's worth it. But if they can't use this Rift Herald efficiently, then that he just died for no reason and gave an Evelyn a kill, which you don't want.
We do see a Dark Binding landing onto Totosaurus in the bot lane. We do also see 3 of Royalty's like players in the top lane looking to see if they can deny this blue buff from Hecarim, and potentially maybe looking to see if they can dive onto Bulbo Sagan's. Jetless is trying to push up the wave. Bulbo Sagan's getting taken very low. Dominus
is he just gonna 1v1 him?
I think Jet's just gonna 1v1 him. He doesn't even need his teammates. They are coming through.
Someone's gonna kill steal it.
I mean, you would rather have it on your Lucian.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely, but that's more of a, okay, we came to gank, and I'm just ganking, I'm helping. Just a random ult over the wall. I kinda expected Garth to try and, like, just ult him with Evelyn. They do crash it mid, and they do pick up 2 plates before the Zillion, so they at least used it. I don't think it's very efficient the way they used it.
I feel about that. I feel like Hecarim definitely should have been there to pick up the plates rather than the Zillion.
Yeah, definitely, and they could have probably gotten more from it if the Hecarim was there, especially for as long as Alpaca was away in top side. They probably could have gotten first tower there or gotten at least another place.
Yeah. But, Stardust doesn't get spotted out. Does use both of his bombs. Alpaca should probably just chase after this. Doesn't know where the jungler is, so does decide to back off. Meanwhile, Royalty are getting the dragon, and this does look like another dragon that's just going to easily go across over to them. And Bulbo Sagan's opting to fight with the Shen again.
Yeah, and Shen has Tiamat now, and he's sitting on a Ruby Crystal plus Longsword, so he is pretty strong. I don't think it's something you want to trade aggressively with. My words aren't working tonight. Too much.
Get spotted out on the ward. Evelyn
is here.
I'm expecting Evelyn to hunt down this Hecarim permanently.
Yeah. Oh, Stardust.
Going very aggressive onto Stardust. Hecarim runs straight into Evelyn. It's a great and United also comes out as well. Alpaca flashes in, and that's going to be 2 going over to the side of Royalty. And like I said, definitely a more aggressive game coming through from Royalty this game. And that's kind of what I expected to see with Alpaca playing.
Yeah, a lot more moves are being made. You see, like, Alpaca. Oh, okay, field goal.
Wide again. Are you sure this guy won the 1v1 tournament? Meanwhile, we do see
not with Ashe.
biting off more than she can chew. She's going to go down. Apollo is next in line. Are they going to dive him for it? Actually deciding not to, but the Evelyn is looking. And Apollo needs to back away from this tower.
It takes another volley to the face.
I think it's a little too late. Garth is looking for him. Meanwhile, we are taking a look at the top lane quickly while Bulbo Sagan...
These fights do not look good for Renekton.
Out. And Jet does look like he's actually winning. Can he turn it around? Does flash away. Expecting the immediate flash followed from Bulbo Sagan's, but decides not.
Hecarim is bot lane.
Young Zing running down. Tiltosaurus is going to get snared eventually, and they are going to turn around with Hecarim on sort of shadow.
Good flash.
Good flash from Tiltosaurus, but Garth here to clean up the kill. And
yeah, now it's that thing that we mentioned. Yeah, that's what we mentioned. Now the Evelyn's sitting 4-0, completed already on the Runic Echoes. So, yeah, this is not gonna be a lot of fun dealing with Garth Ryan. He's gonna just run around and start one-shotting people, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of that little heart above your head when she comes to town.
No, you definitely don't want to be Evelyn's Valentine. I promise you that for sure.
Yeah, that's how you think you want the attention. Trust me, you don't.
No, you definitely don't.
And looking at the items, we see the Manamune build coming in mid. For those of you who were here last time when we criticized it, we did some research afterwards, like speaking to Vanzor and Alpaca and all of these people, and we were wrong.
I still think in
Happens.
that situation going man.
Oh, you just get salted. Okay, that feels bad.
Yeah, it just gets
But yeah, sometimes we're wrong. You know.
Yeah.
I
Young Zink getting caught out again. He's gonna get
Be
assassinated.
my lover.
Quick kill for Garth Ryan. Doesn't even need the ulti.
Ooh, and now they're gonna go bot.
This is gonna be a tower dive coming.
Oh,
And
just
United
walk
is
straight into
onto Vanza. They're trying to turn it around. The Black Shield comes out onto Apollo, but it is down for now. Shen does have Stand United available. It is just coming off of cooldown now, and I do expect to see it coming through. The Ash Arrow does land onto the Senna, and where's Senna going? You've got no power left. You're stuck. Apollo does decide to turn around and no, Bishop comes back as well to try and save Lady Carry. Does get the Zhonya's off, but Van is just going to volley you in the face.
Ooh.
Over.
And God doing a nice little ult there, like to gain distance and to close the gap on Bishop ZA. So he clearly is.
Caress.
What?
It's called the Last Caress or Last Caress.
Caress, yeah. Caress. Okay.
Telling you, that's what it's called.
Yeah, I just read it as I saw. It's a weird name. Like, good luck saying that in team fights.
Well, this is definitely a more dominant game. Maybe Royalty just needed to warm up a little bit after the first game. But definitely looking much better. I definitely think the draft was much easier for them this game than the previous game, with the lanes easily winning it out. And not a lot of, like, punishment coming out for the Shen. And Young Zink definitely not looking as on form this game as he was in the previous game.
Yeah, definitely. And like, there's a reason, you know, Royalty is synonymous with reverse sweeping. Ooh, Goth.
Ooh, Goth gonna shot
Bishop.
Doesn't have the last caress up, so doesn't manage to assassinate. But Scumbag Tiltosaurus here.
Yeah, just kills. I question mark being that support if that was me. Oh, Senna.
Onto Apollo. Apollo gets taken down. I'm expecting Van to 1v1, but here comes Young Zink. Trying to get onto Vanza. Does manage to get him. The cleansers come out. He flashes out of range of the tower, but that's the last coming through. Oh, and God.
Here comes the Evelyn. All the love.
Kill, but only picks one of them because Tiltosaurus gets one as well. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Bilbo Sagan's fighting it out with Jetlust.
They have no idea what's going on with the rest of the map. They're just out here brawling in top lane, and the rest of the map is falling apart for both seconds. Yeah, this is kind of... Yeah.
Oh. And that's Ninja Tabi now, so he is definitely winning out those trades much better.
100%. And he's going to go that Ravenous Hunt. What's it called? Sorry. Not that. Titanic Hydra. Ravenous Hydra. The tanky one.
Titanic Hydra.
Titanic Hydra, thank you. He is going to go that, and that's going to be a nice little power spike for him. We also see Royalty again, on soul point, 16 minutes into the game. A little faster than they were the previous game. But there's a reason Royalty is known for reverse sweeping, because usually their first game isn't their best game. They take it, I think, maybe a little slow, more methodical, and game 2 they ramp it up once they have a read on the team they're playing against. Maybe that is the reason, or maybe they are just warmed up. I have no idea what, or maybe it's just the comps that are a little bit different.
TSM, dude. Old TSM.
Yeah.
The
good TSM.
Yeah. Well, usually this Evelyn is sitting on 18 stacks, Garth Ryan, and that's a lot of mana. He's sitting on 310 mana at the moment, and you do not want to walk into that Evelyn.
Yeah, definitely. If you walk into Evelyn, you're dead. We've seen he doesn't even need Last Caress to kill anyone. He is so fed. He's on 18 stacks of Magias and sitting on a needlessly large rod. Yeah, he just looks super scary right now. And now we're just going to see Royalty 1-3-1 probably, or they're just going to knock down this top tower.
Down with just the culling, and Alpaca is also a scary boy. I think everyone in Royalty is a scary boy at the moment.
Yeah, everyone is very strong right now, and you know, Bulbasaur is going to get out of this top lane and be like, guys, what happened? I was just, you know...
Finds Gothran Miller. Gothran looking. Here comes Tilt with the slow. They don't manage to get Young Zink. They are looking. Bulbasagan.
Last Caress is up.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow does hit the Renekton. Here comes the Shen taunt. They're going to get onto the Renekton. I don't think Renekton is going to be alive for much longer. 22 stacks on the Evelyn and counting.
Yeah, that was a good Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming in from Vanzo. We know that he has hit some crazy ones over his career. if Mega Protea or Dash is in chat, ask him and he'll tell you what Banzel's Ash can do.
Damage is disgusting.
Dude, that's just not fair.
Last one going wide. Hikram is trying to get onto Vanza, but Stand United is available, and Young Zink just charges into his death.
Yeah, and we see him get Van like a little low and stuff, but with the amount of tools that Royalty have, as long as someone is kind of close to him, like the Karma or Stand United is up, it's gonna be hard to kill him.
I feel like if he doesn't have Onslaught of Shadows, he shouldn't even go for that play at all.
Yeah,
I
true.
don't think he used it there. I think he just charged in after the Ash with his Rampage.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the only member sitting on only one, or he's sitting on 1.5 item, Van as well as Jetlust. But you know, the other two are just so strong.
Culling does come out. So 4-man dive onto the Lucian. Lucian flashes away, trying to kite it out. Does eventually
gets one.
Gets one. Trying to turn the thing around. Doesn't manage to get 1,000 gold shut down onto the Renekton. Bulbasagan's going to take that one very
To the
happy.
bank. He's gonna take that to the bank. Be like, please give me items. I need to do some things. So again, Royalty just doing the classic PvP. All you do is you get priority, you clear vision, or you set up vision, and then you get priority again. And that's basically what they do. Rinse and repeat until objectives are up. They take the objectives and move on with their life. And it's going to be a 20-minute Baron again from the side of Royalty. It's just, Era just have no control over any vision on this side. They've one lonely pink warrior in top lane, and that's about it. And as soon as Shen comes, ooh, they might know. Oh, they would have known, but Bulbasagan's put down another ward, and his ward got timed out that they had it there. So I don't think they're going to even know about this.
No, Royalty just going to sneak this one
That's
away,
unlucky.
as they did in the first game. But this time they don't have to sacrifice Jetlust. They rather just sacrifice Alpaca in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I mean that's a pretty standard play. You know, if you pull a lot of members one side of the map, you take something on the other side. But you know, usually not this early.
I mean, a 20-minute Baron is definitely not a standard play.
Yeah. No, that usually happens at the end of the game, or like late into the game. Here at 30 minutes side.
Young
Ooh,
Zink
Young
does
Zink.
not want that.
Ooh.
Separated. Stardust is next on the list. Culling
Holy.
does. Dude, this
The
Lucian
damage.
is terrifying. Enchanted
This
Fissile goes
so
down.
much.
And this
Look at that damage, man.
Here comes the Evelyn as well. That's going to be another kill going across. This is a bloodbath. Here comes the Shen. Does manage.
Oh, good flash.
Apollo's going to go down. They're
Lost
chasing.
already.
They want blood. Alpaca's chasing
this
after
damage.
Renekton. Renekton trying to
Ooh.
turn it around. But Renekton not going to last very long against a 9-for-2
Damn.
Lucian. And that's game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be game. And 2 quick 20-ish minutes. I think the first game was 24 or 25 minutes. And then game 2 now 21 minutes, 22 minutes, let's call it. And just a clinic Britannia by Royalty.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the first time we're watching Royalty play on stream. This is the first time we are casting them this championship, and this is what we expected probably from the reigning champions. You know, you expect them to be clinical and be strong. You know, not a team that you can just like trick or just get easy games or stuff off of. So, are you at all surprised by the performance of Royalty?
No, I'm definitely not surprised, especially in the second game. It did look a lot more convincing than the first game. I mean, I actually can't even say that the first game also looked quite clinical and quite clean. I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say that they performed better than I saw ATK playing yesterday or the last cast that I did. I think ATK really stomped their games really hard.
Yeah.
But I definitely think ATK came out and they put on more of a mechanical performance as opposed to this, which Royalty seemed to have the macro nailed. Like they got every single dragon, and I don't think this team is on the same caliber. Era last time is on the same caliber as the team that ATK were against, which I think was XYZ Reflect. But
Yeah, I think Era last time did end above them on the standings, but I'm not. Don't kill me for that. I'm not 100% sure, but that will only be like seen probably later. It. But looking at the game, you know, it's hard to compare performances because obviously both ATK and Royalty have very different playstyles. You know, so I just think when I look at this, very clinical. You know that game 2 was more like, okay, cool, let's just run and kill and do whatever. But game 1 was a lot more measured. And just looking at like what the group looks like now, Royalty remain unbeaten, but they have the first biggest game, 2 big games this week coming up, and that will be Friday against Evo and Sunday against GG Black, which we are casting. Now, that does change a little things a little bit for the side of Era Lost Time, seeing as that they are fighting for that 4th place spot between them and ADG Nebula, who did take a game off GG Black. So this is going to make stuff very interesting around that 4th, 5th place position.
No, I definitely agree with you. I definitely think it is a very interesting group to look at the moment, just because, I mean, even with Evo dropping a game as well,
Yeah,
everything has been quite unexpected. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Era Lost Time put up a good performance against ADG Nebula. ADG.
I think they've already played it. Yeah, Era Last Time beat ADG Nebula 2-0.
I did that.
But they lost. No, I'm telling you, I'm looking at it now. But they lost 2-0 to Era to GG Black. So they beat the team that took a game of GG Black, but lost 2-0 to GG Black. So Era Last Time have match synergy coming up, which is currently 5-1. Their only win was against. Let me see. Sorry, they drew against ATG 0. Yeah, and that's it.
They
No,
drew against ATG 0. That's quite interesting.
Yes. Okay. Wait, it says they. Oh, and they beat a League of Legends team. Sorry, Mad Synergy. So, Era Last Time have to beat Mad Synergy, and then they're playing Evo the 3rd of September, which is in 2 days. So that, if they can take a game off them, they solidify themselves a nice little 4th place spot there. But if they don't, ADG Nebula have Mad Synergy left, a League of Legends team, and Evo as well. Okay, it seems like Evo just doesn't want to play games, but both of these teams have to play Evo. I don't think it's rude saying we don't really expect them to take a game off Evo,
No.
but both teams having to play Mad Synergy and a League of Legends team coming up, so it's going to be about who performs better in that. Currently, Era Lost Time is 1 point ahead on points in Group B, but he is. But they have played one more game than ADG Nebula. But to talk about that game and about the group, we have Liam Tiltosaurus here. How are you doing, Liam?
What's the surname, man?
Hello?
O'Neill, I think.
Yeah.
Am I right? See, I know,
Yeah,
I
you're
know,
right.
I know royalty people. What do you mean? How are you doing? How was that game?
Yeah, it was fine, I think. I was a bit I think warmed up much more in the second game, but yeah, first game was fine as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we did see basically every single objective going over in favor of you, barring 2 Rift Heralds in both series. Both series, you guys also taking a 20-minute dragon, so it's very
Baron.
easy to say, or
Yeah.
I'm confident in saying that you guys felt like you were in the driver's seat in all of those games, even in both of those games. Even the first game when the kill score didn't look exactly like it was a top tier team playing against a lower-ish tier team. I definitely think you guys still seem to be completely in control of those games.
Yeah, like I said, I think first game we're just a bit like everyone's still waking up a bit or getting. I don't know if anyone's played in the league today. But the more we played, we just got more into it, and then by the second game, it was just felt everything back to normal again.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it looked like you, even though you didn't have really wake up, that is the royalty special, especially not waking up for games. Sometimes I've heard, I'm not going to point fingers, Liam, but I've heard players oversleeping for games and stuff like that. But or not waking up for game one is a real thing. But like going up when you are going up against Evo on Friday, GG on Sunday, 80k in future, you can't really like take that chance of not being really there or really awake game one. And there's what will your like adaptation be going into that games or those games?
Well, I think obviously I don't want to say we don't take these games seriously. I think that's one thing we've done quite well. These groups is we have taken every game as seriously as we could where possible. So I think there'll be a lot less chance that we do slip up against the better teams on paper, of course. But Yeah, of course, if it is a game where you're approaching GG or Evo, they tend to be more mechanically on your level as well. You do play a few more warm up games. You make sure you get a good week of practice. So it'd definitely be taking those sort of measures into those games.
Okay, no, definitely. And we saw you and ATK heavily prioritize the Karma over something like a Morgana. And is that just because you feel like Karma provides more for the team, even though a lot of times it is a counter to Morgana in a lot of people's eyes? Or how do you just feel about the Karma pick? Is that just something that you think is very strong?
Yeah, I think it provides more wave pressure than the Morgana in lane, and especially if we already got the Ashe in both games. So I think them prioritizing Morgana was a bit weird because even if you have a support that can shove, if you don't have an ADC that can match it, you're not really doing much, right? So I think that was a big mistake on their behalf to take the Morgana just blind. It doesn't really work, especially when the comm is still open.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been a common trend that we see in the weaker teams to kind of ban out the Caitlyn, but not ban out the Ashe, or rather not pick away the Ashe. So I don't exactly know why that has been happening, but it has been something that we've seen a lot recently. One thing I do want to ask, obviously, I know that the rest of the people in this call know the answer to this question, but a lot of people might look at it and see that Lanceros didn't have the most amazing game in the first game and then was subbed out for Alpaca, and I mean, then you guys seem to be on a totally different level where you guys obviously had now warmed up, and I'm not going to say it's entirely Lance's fault, but him being your rookie at the moment, do you guys think it's sort of a bad idea to be taking him out and not giving him as much playtime as a veteran like Alpaca?
If we were playing like if this was maybe like LAN tournaments where it's a different kind of environment, perhaps. I don't think any of these group games are really any different from scrims. So if he's in the scrims, before the actual qualifiers or the finals, whatever they are, I think that'll be fine. I do know. I just want to say also on his behalf, he's had a heavy week of exams this past week, so he has not been playing a lot as well. It is the main reason for the sub, but I enjoy having him in our games. I think he's learnt a lot. Obviously, yeah, he is still a rookie. He is still learning, so we do just look better with a veteran. But yeah, I think he's pulling his weight a lot more these days. So yeah, it's good to see.
Awesome.
I don't know if you had media training or something because you're answering these very well. I'm pretty sure management in Royalty is going to be very happy with your answers. But looking forward to your games this week. You have your two hardest game in your group. You guys had a pretty easy schedule coming into this. You faced a lot of lower tier teams, and now you're facing, which seems to be a trend in Royalty. It happened in the leg as well, facing the two best teams in your group. Basically the three best teams in your group in 1 week, and going into like GG and Evo this weekend. So how are you feeling about those games? You're feeling confident, especially after watching them play each other, where they went 1-1. How are you feeling just going into these matchups?
Yeah, like I said a bit earlier, I think we've taken every game as if it was the best team, so to speak. Maybe it does get a bit trolly into the games, but we've tried to approach it with that like kind of winning mindset. So I think we don't need to change much on that. But yeah, other than that, just I think being more prepared. We'll be putting in some practice this week, making sure we're up to scratch on everything, and yeah, I think we'll be ready.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you for the interview, Tilt, and very well played today. We greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and speak with us and giving the people some good answers. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up. Are you gonna take it away, Roy? So you're gonna do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you do want to catch us on our next cast, the next game we will be casting is a game between ADG Nebula and Mad Synergy. That will be on Thursday at 8 p.m. Hopefully, if there is no load shedding, otherwise we will obviously reschedule and see if we can potentially get another game. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining in and tuning in, and I hope to see you guys again the next time we enter the Rift.
Cheers, people.